Hello everybody, this is Dago Seda, pretty snazzy walkthroughs. Resident Evil, Code Veronica, X, A rank walkthrough. Alright, so you notice when you walk in here, there's this big worm guy. Don't really bother with him, because you're going to fight him later as Chris. And I thought that if you can fight it as Claire, but all that will do is just waste ammo, because one, he's incredibly easy to dodge. Two, even if you kill him as Claire, all that does is just make him go away, and then you still have to fight him as Chris. So I don't see what the point is of killing it. I did it on one of my runs. I'm like, wow, that was a huge waste of time. Anyway, and plus he's also much harder to fight as Claire because, like, when you fight him as Chris, he's sort of programmed to always, the first time he pops up, he takes a second to menacingly roar or shriek or whatever noise you'd say it makes at you. But as Claire, he almost always just like pops up only for like a second and just goes straight back down, so you don't really have time to even shoot at him anyway. Yeah, but we're gonna get to that later. Alright, so what we're doing here is actually we're doing some huge involved thing just to get our see, I hate when zombies do that. It's kind of annoying. We're going through like a huge involved process just to get some bowgun explosive tip things to attach to the bullets, or the arrows. I keep calling them bullets. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, so I think during this video, I'm kind of gonna give a little bit of a spiel here, a little speech, I guess. It's sort of on like remakes in general, like remakes and ports and stuff like that. Anyway, this is all the bowgun arrows you're gonna need. See, I called arrows this time. Anyway, okay, so I've looked at some reviews of like remakes or ports of games, and a lot of them seem people like bash them for pretty much no reason. Like one of the best examples I can think of is a lot of people seem to really not like the ports of Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 2 on the GameCube, where they're saying it's like, oh yeah, these versions suck because they didn't completely revamp the graphics and add a whole bunch of new things to the game. First of all, that's really a load of crap, honestly. That's not a legitimate complaint whatsoever about a port. Because, see, the thing is, the whole point of a port is to make sure that a new generation of gamers can experience the same games that people from like 10-15 years ago got to experience. Like, if they didn't make a port of Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 2, then I would have been like, oh man, I really want to play them, but I can't. See, it's introducing them to the new generation. And I'm sure at the time, a lot of people were like, oh cool, Resident Evil, yeah, that sounds cool. I have a GameCube, I'll get that, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I understand the fact that they bothered to completely remake the first Resident Evil. Because, yeah, now I'll sort of give my spiel on that too while I'm at it. The first Resident Evil really, it had so many flaws with it. One of the biggest ones, obviously, is like the stupid voice acting. I mean, yeah, it was comical. It was comical. It was something like memorable about the game. But at the same time, it really was a flaw. And it's not like good voice acting didn't exist. Like, back in those days, they did have cartoons. Cartoons did have quality voice acting. So why the heck can't they get quality voice acting for a game, alright? And I'm sure, like, back at that time, Capcom wasn't really as big enough that they could have gotten big-time voice actors. But really, quality voice acting isn't really that hard to do, you know? Because, I mean, I'm sort of an amateur at it, but in some of my videos, I have to do some voice acting for it, and it's not even that... It's not that hard to make it sound at least believable. At least in the first Resident Evil, what they had was a whole bunch of really awkward dialogue. Like, one of the things I define as awkward in dialogue is just this like total lack of contractions in your speech. It's like you'll say, "I'll go over here," and then the awkward way to say is, "I will go over here." It's like you're gonna have a hard time doing this. You are going to have difficulties with this, or something stupid like that. Like, a lot of the dialogue was just terrible. Like, I mean, yeah, as funny as it is, alright? As awesome as Barry is, you can't say the Jill sandwich line was, like, script writing brilliance, I mean, yeah, it is one of the most memorable things about that whole game. But really, I mean, they fixed it perfectly in the remake. They changed it. You could have been a Jill sandwich. Yeah, okay, that's a little ridiculous. They changed it in the remake to saying, oh, if I hadn't been here, you would have fit nicely into a sandwich, which makes sense. Saying, oh, Jill would have been flattened, but no. In the first game, they're like, hey, let's try to like put a pun in there. And a lot of the stuff, there's so many bad puns. Like, puns are rarely to never funny. Okay, hey guys, I am very anti-pun. Okay, and oh yeah, by the way, one of my tactics I do is I sort my inventory box by I just put all my herbs in the bottom, so I just remember where they are and don't have to search through them. Anyway, like, seriously, another bad pun was, like, you kill Plant 42, and if you're Chris, he'll say to Rebecca, oh, I guess we got to the root of the problem. Really? Come on. That's like something a third grader would come up with. Anyway, the other major problem with that game is, yeah, I know, it may sound like a stupid complaint, but the lack of the ability to do, like, the quick 180 turn that was introduced in Resident Evil 3, which if like in the ports of like Resident Evil 2 and stuff like that, they probably should have added that too, which I don't think they did, but I'm not going to complain about that right now. In the first game, they could have easily added that 180 thing, all right, but they didn't, and that was stupid, and it made the control, like, seriously, the inclusion of the 180 turn that they added in Resident Evil 3 just made the control so much easier. It felt so much more natural. Because like, normal people, when they turn around, you don't have to just like slowly like do this half sidestep weird thing just to like face the opposite direction. No, you just turn around. It's simple as that. But in like the original Resident Evil, you couldn't do that. And then in the remake, they added that. I'm like, yes, this is brilliant. This makes the game so much more playable. And then my biggest complaint about the entire first game is that whole stupid thing they have where it's like, oh yeah, this is like scary. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the first game was pretty scary, yeah. But the whole thing that almost completely ruined the entire game is the very fact that all of the walls were painted this bright white color. So what the heck? How is that supposed to build any sort of like scary atmosphere? Like, how could anyone be frightened by white walls? Like, it makes it seem like, yeah, this is an abandoned mansion. Okay, yeah. Then why are all the walls like perfect and white and all shiny and stuff like that? Like, in the remake, they bothered to make all the walls dark. They actually bothered to add more atmosphere to it. I mean, the whole point of the first game was to introduce the whole survival concept and stuff like that. And yeah, there was some scary parts, like the Tyrant. Like, I haven't actually played through the entire first game because I have like the DS remake, and I said before I not really bothering with like playing through the whole thing, but I did watch all of Narb 77's Let's Play of it. So I mean, we talk about that game a lot. We know like all the stuff that goes on in there anyway. But like the Tyrant was like pretty freaky in that game. I think actually they made it less scary in the remake. But anyway, so like the whole thing about a port is, now I'm getting back to the port thing. Like, yeah, basically, yeah, the first game desperately needed a remake. It aged terribly, and its age showed very quickly after, like, pretty much as soon as they released Resident Evil 2. Like, the original version of the first game probably looked like a piece of crap. The voice acting wasn't perfect in Resident Evil 2, and I didn't actually even get to play through all of it yet because you can't freaking find the GameCube remake anywhere. I'm going to complain more in a second about that. But the voice acting was improved, the whole atmosphere was achieved much better, and everything like that. But anything about a port, people can't possibly complain about the fact that, oh, they didn't add extra stuff to it. It's like, all right, yeah, hey, by the way, we added a bunch of extra stuff to this port. So yeah, everyone who already owns this game, yeah, go out and buy it again just so you can get all that extra stuff. Like, I had the original GameCube version of Resident Evil 4, and it is by far like until like they made like the HD one where they have everything added to it, that was like the best one. It had the best graphics, and the only thing they really added to it in all of its remakes is like, hey, we added a couple of extra weapons. Okay, yeah, what? There's like no point in like getting those weapons. Like, would you really like pay like at that time be like $40 like 40, 50. Would you really pay 40, 50 bucks for a game you already own just to get some extra weapons in it? No, that's a load of crap. Anyway, and then the final thing I'm gonna say is they should definitely like they give Resident Evil 2 and or 3 the same treatment that this game got. Like re-release it in HD so like the modern gamer can enjoy it the way they enjoy all their other games. Like, yeah, they have the technology to do so. They can revamp the graphics. They can fix a lot of things. But just the fact that they like refuse to do so is just like the thing that's preventing me and others from experiencing Resident Evil 2. In fact, I think Resident Evil 2 is probably the most requested game for Capcom to remake because it's like universally heralded as one of the, if not the best of the old Resident Evil games. But they still haven't freaking ported it to anything other than the PS3. Anyway, okay, I'm going over the video time here. I hope this sounded mildly intelligent. Okay, guys, I'll see you next video. I didn't really explain much here, but it was all very straightforward stuff. Okay, see ya.